And this new format is interesting for Irma, myself, and our whole group with Zoom and how we're doing this. And so quality may be not up to the usual standards, but then again, I don't know that we really ever had standards. So I think we're struggling in that respect. But one of the biggest issues facing towns all across, I was going to say New Jersey, but the country at this point is continuing to deliver education, public education, education in general to kids. Last show we did from Save a Lot, we talked to Dr. Quint. He joins us now because he is in the catering business, he is in the education business, he is in the logistics business. So Walter, first of all, thanks for letting us intrude. You're in your office in the school system, I'm at Hill Studio, and we're doing a TV show. So the world has changed dramatically, but how about an update? How are things starting with, you're feeding kids, crossing guards are still on corners. Tell us how the day's running.
Well, the day's running very well. Let's start with food service. So far during this closure, we've served over 7,500 meals. And the meal service, the grab-and-go breakfast and lunch, will continue throughout spring recess. As you mentioned, the crossing guards, thanks to the borough, will be on duty the entire recess from the 6th through the 13th, and meals will continue to be served. And as you talk about it, we're also in the transportation business. Our bus drivers and aides are delivering meals to about 35 youngsters who are homeless living outside of Paulsboro. So the school is very much in operation.
Now, Walter, so people get a sense of it, you're not offering an old country buffet variety of meals. This is really a very basic service, isn't it? Between the bag lunch, the bag breakfast. Can you give people an idea of what's in that bag for those who don't have kids?
Well, cereal, fruit, juice, a sandwich. The lunch has a sandwich, so it is a fully reimbursable meal by the United States Department of Agriculture standards. As much shelf-stabilized food as we can possibly use, but some of the foods do require refrigeration.
And are you serving daily, or are you doing a couple of days worth of goods and then they come back, or how's that working?
We serve daily between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. every day at all three schools. So Loudon, Slogger, Billingsport, and Paulsboro High School. Students or their parents can come pick up breakfast and lunch at the same time between 9 and 10. And at the same time, pick up learning packets if they need additional learning packets, and drop off packets to be graded.
Walter, it's a perfect segue. So you've been in education for a very long time. It's not new to have a child have to be educated at home, occasionally one or two children for various circumstances, whether they be ill or something of that nature. You've never had to deal with something like this, nor has the state, nor has the nation. So have you got a sense in these first, I guess, what are we into this, 2 weeks now with regards to homeschooling? Have you got a sense of the level of effectiveness? Are kids honestly participating, or are they not?
I'm extremely proud of what our staff is doing. The staff is working very hard with the online learning and the packets. And yes, large numbers of our students are participating online and completing the learning packets. You can see that each day when youngsters come to pick up their meals, the number of learning packets that are being dropped off. We encourage people to use the online resource as much as possible because it's a challenge for us, believe it or not, just to keep up with the copying of the packets. But I do want to beg, if you will, put a plea out to our parents and students that those who are not completing their work must begin to complete the work. If a student doesn't complete their assignments either online or through the hard copy learning packets, two things will happen. First, they have to be marked absent, and secondly, they're going to get failing grades. School is still in session, and as many youngsters are doing this well and teachers are all doing it well, I just have to urge the students and parents, you must take this seriously. You must do the work so that we can mark you present, grade the work, and you achieve passing grades.
Yeah, I've also been saying to people in the conversations I'm in that when this is all done, residents are going and parents are going to have a new appreciation for what teachers do during the course of a day, since they're getting a sense of it at home, because again, it's changed so dramatically. Walter, just from point of curiosity, Paulsboro is a working class spot, as are many towns through the state. What percentage of kids have sufficient access to either computer or smartphone and internet against those that are having to complete their work in paper packets?
About 1/3 of our students don't have the technology they need to do the online. So about 1/3 of the students, 300 to 400 students, are working with paper packets, and that's a challenge. But they're doing very well. We can see the packets coming and go. And by the way, we have arranged for our first drive-through pickup. So what will happen on the 15th of April is the teachers will drive through, and we will give them the papers, the packets that need to be graded. They'll grade them, and within a few weeks return them so we can give them back to the students. The online grading is going constantly, but the packets will have our first drive-through on the 15th, and then every Wednesday thereafter.
We also, too, at the state level, I know you follow us very closely, we have appropriated a great deal of money to get districts that need more laptops to get this technology into the districts so they can get home with the kids. But obviously, it can't happen fast enough. It just can't move fast enough. So I guess as we close this segment, we have no sense of when you'll be able to have kids back into school. No one knows. Hopefully sooner than later, but sooner maybe 3 weeks, later maybe they don't come back this year. But so there's no talk about pushing the school year. I mean, these days are being recognized as school days. There's no talk about pushing it more into the summer just to give kids a chance to get a couple weeks back in school and catch up. It's premature at this point to think about those things.
I think so, although we're beginning to plan and think through what will happen if we can't come back this year. Starting to think about how we would handle a commencement online, some form of a virtual commencement. How we would handle National Honor Society inductions, and so many more activities that are important to the students if we can't be physically back in the school. Obviously, we're also going to start to plan, if we can come back into the schools during the summer, what kind of an extended school year and enhanced summer school program might we be able to offer in order to compensate for the challenges that we've been facing during the spring.
Well spoken, because you may have a few of these kids you're just going to have to catch up with that just need that little extra, I would think. Well, thank you for breaking up your day. I know I thanked you publicly, but as you look back now, aren't you glad you came out of retirement?
I am. I really am. This is an important job. You know, I love this community, and we like to rise to challenges in Paulsboro, and I see our staff as just stepping up, every member of the staff, and making us proud. We are not complaining. What I see every member of the staff doing is finding solutions to help the students. And I would say they exceed expectations, but they don't, because I expected the very best, and they are delivering just exactly what we all know the school district can deliver: a great education under any circumstances to all of our students.
Walter, they are very, very strong words, and grateful to you and your continued service. And it took an act of the legislature to get you back, and it was time well spent. We've been visiting with Dr. Walter Quint, Superintendent of Schools, Public Schools in Paulsboro, and also, I would say, the largest food service vendor we have in the borough of Paulsboro presently.